Oh, yes, the next transmission. Hello. What shall I call you? Ah yes, Observer. Since I can't assume what race and or any other secondary characteristics of you, I'll just use this simple non-defining word instead. Okay, Observer? Okay. Oh, yes, you're here for a reason, right? I'm assuming you saw my previous transmission about Kaladesh becoming viewable, yes? Yes, good. That means you're here for the follow-up. Today's video is all about my speculation of...
Kaladesh. What's going on?
It's no secret that Kaladesh is a plane full of artifice. What is artifice, you say? It's a funny word for anything that is handcrafted by humanoids that serve as tools or helpers. Sometimes it's an animated bodyguard. Sometimes it's a power suit.
Thopters, a creation going all the way back to Urza himself, show that no matter what plane or species, the idea of wanting to fly, be it under your power or your creation's power, is transcendent. Naturally, Kaladesh has endeared itself to this idea, creating even greater flying constructs that look like airships. These constructs and their lesser Oni brethren are unusual in that it appears a substance we have learned called Aether is powering them, rather than regular magic. Aether seems to be bottled or accessed through power conduits, much like your telephone wires of Earth channels lightning. How the Aether is gathered is unknown, but it appears it is heavily guarded and given out only by the government of Kaladesh.
Speaking of which, we've heard the place is governed by people called consuls and their guard. I'm expecting some sort of hierarchy system to the plane, consuls being the top dog, obviously. How other people fit into this hierarchy remains to be seen, but I would warn against expecting some sort of class system. Things may not be what they seem on Kaladesh, and making guesses without information can be dangerous if you plan to venture there. The amount of vibrant landscapes that I've been getting images of are wonderful. I expect some non-ruined landscapes and something a little more usual and beautiful, maybe something closer to our fair Dominaria, before all that mess with the mending and the Mirari craziness, of course. I'm kidding, of course, Karn, if you're listening. Karn's great, trust me. Enough about the plane, you want the speculation. I'm here to tell you that all is not right with the plane of Kaladesh. As is the case, there are those whose power must be absolute above all. Be forewarned, this is my personal speculation based on what I have observed, and the harrowing tale of Chandra Nalaar.
Ah yes, the tale of Chandra Nalaar's spark igniting. I'm sure you've heard of it, but for those who haven't, here's the shortened version. After watching her parents get attacked for her pyromancy, as on Kaladesh, pyromancy is outlawed and punishable by death for some reason, Chandra escapes the consulate's guardsmen, and when confronted with near death, she exploded in a ball of flame and disappeared to the plane of Regatha, a world with fire monks. Basically, she landed from the oven into a basket of love. Isn't that sweet? Straight from people who hate you for who you are to people who revere you. Now that tale is interesting to us at RPL for one specific reason. Yes, pyromancy is outlawed, and yes, it seems kind of arbitrary, but why were they chasing after her with such gusto and rabid justice-seeking? This humble lab tech suggests that a sinister plot may be in the works, and we only have to look at the coming Aether Revolt to understand why. I foresee the plane having a dark secret, one that chills me to my bones. What if the Aether harvested on the plane is not just from your usual mountains, plains, or other sources of mana, like here on Dominaria? What if the only way to gain access to Aether is from these sought-after mages? The consuls likely think the mages that are oh so few on the plane are basically mana batteries, and can take from them the energy they need to power their devices, in a conduit sort of way. Thus, I expect to see many a mage locked up in captivity and being drained of their mana as they can cast it. Perhaps Chandra will return to this plane and find out the actual fate she would have suffered at the hands of the consulate and attempt to start a revolution. A revolt, perhaps?
Who knows exactly what will happen? It'll only be when the plane's window of opportunity opens. You, a planeswalker of your own regard, can visit Kaladesh during your September month and find out. I'll be awaiting the glorious data, and be detailing all the characteristics of the plane as well as finding evidence to see if my theory is true. One last thing, expect high amounts of artifacts on this plane, especially equipment. The inhabitants of this plane looks like they are dressed out in armor that help them in combat, and I expect you to do the same if you wish to help or prevent this revolt from starting. That's it for my speculation. There's only so much data for me to go by for the fate of the plane, and it's up to you and me to figure out what's going on. I expect reports and data as soon as you can manage it. I'll be managing my own data and might have a field report come your September. Why your September? Because our time vortex sometimes sticks in reverse. Man, that time vortex, it's a fickle mistress. Stay tuned for my next video where I'll educate you on this strange plane where wolves howl at the moon and vampires run amok. Hypothesize everything, deny nothing. Time vortex. I told Ten she could never drive it again. We ended up in the Ice Age, you see, and...